Hola, everyone. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your minion today. Host Y Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Happy Halloween to all my little ghouls and goblins out there. And as you may guess, this is our Halloween episode, and we're going to have a frightful good time. But first up, we're joined by Amit Singh Bagga, Campaign Director of Affordable Housing. And after that, we sit with Alan D. Orozco, the Deputy Director of Public Safety at Lehman College, to discuss how to stay safe this Halloween season. And then we're joined by the Director of the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival, Xavier A. Santiago, who is celebrating their Quinceañera. And lastly, we close with an open weekend preview with some fun events you can enjoy across the city this Halloween weekend. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way because now we are officially open. Hello? Okay. Banana? Yeah. Okay. Welcome to Open, everyone. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host, Y Café con Leche. For the next hour, inviting you to get social with us online. You can follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV or like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget to follow moi on Instagram, Insta Stories, Threads, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. Bueno, mi gente, my favorite holiday this year has arrived, so happy Halloween to my little minions. All right. No, but listen, before we get into the festivities, we have some NY housing facts for our viewers that we think you should know about before voting this November. So, in the NYC metro area, residents spend about 40% of their total household expenses on housing. These costs are significantly higher than the national average. And more than half of all city households are considered rent burdened, which means they spend over 30% of their income on rent. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment is a whopping $2,367. Yeah, and that's nearly twice the national average. So here to talk about how we got here and why housing is becoming unaffordable for New York residents is the manager of the Affordable Housing Campaign Director. Everyone, please welcome Amit Singh Bagga. Hello. And welcome and thank you for joining us on our Halloween episode to talk about these important issues in which all New Yorkers should be aware of prior to going to vote.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today, Rhina. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I know. I love when everybody's just free-flowing and in the spirit. You know, thank you for, doing, I don't know what.
Did my part today with black and orange.
Yeah, you got the pumpkin flavor going on.
Yeah.
That works.
Yes.
That works.
Yes.
That works. And then there's this topic that we have to discuss that is very important. And before we even dive into it, I just want to say that I'm so happy that you're here to share it with our viewers, because sometimes we go to the voting booth and we get these props and we're kind of just voting according to what we are guessing should be the right answer. So the fact that we're able to educate our viewers prior to getting there is really crucial and important, especially because we do have a serious housing issue in New York.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on today. I'm here today to talk about 4 proposals that voters are going to see on their ballot when they go into the voting booth this year. Proposals 2 through 5. There are going to be 6 total. I'm here to talk about 2 through 5, all of which deal with this very important issue, as you described, of housing. look, if you are a renter in Throgs Neck or you're a homeowner in Riverdale, no matter where you are in the city, no matter where you are in the borough, I'm very proud to be a native of the Bronx. My parents have lived in the same house for 50 years on the other side of the borough. Everybody is experiencing our housing crisis acutely. As you mentioned in your opener, we have the highest housing costs anywhere in the nation. They have continued to rise year after year. And the reason for this simply is that we have not built enough housing across the city. Now, people may be asking themselves, well, I've seen a lot of housing built in the Bronx, or if you live in downtown Brooklyn or Long Island City, like where I live, people will say, we've seen a lot of housing being built. That's true. But a lot of the housing that's been built in New York City over the last 10 or 15 years has been concentrated in just a few parts of the city. And housing, as you mentioned, is a real citywide problem and therefore demands a citywide solution. But right now, the system that we have that actually gets housing approved is broken. And why is it broken? Because we cannot get housing built in many parts of the city that actually need that housing, right? And what ends up happening is that a lot of the housing that ends up getting built is then not necessarily sufficiently affordable for working New Yorkers, right? And so what ballot measures proposals 2 through 5 really are all about is fixing this broken system so that we can get housing built faster, less expensively, and more affordably for New Yorkers everywhere.
Okay, so before we even get into the props, like, can you help us understand how it is that they are able to determine when buildings are built that they are designed for affordable housing, and or what that percentage is or should be in development? How is that determined?
Sure. So really that's done, generally speaking, kind of what they say project by project, right? So sometimes when you have a larger rezoning of a whole neighborhood, there will be a negotiation between many different actors, the city hall, the city council, the community, the developer, community organizations, that will determine questions like what percentage of the total housing units are going to be affordable. And then every single rezoning or every single project gets a certain amount of taxpayers' subsidy dollars, mostly from the city, some from the state, sometimes a little bit from the federal government. And depending on how large the project is, how expensive the project is, how many units the project is trying to create, that will determine how much subsidy a project can get overall and how far that subsidy will go in terms of making a particular unit affordable. And the reason why these proposals are so important is because they're going to start to unlock development in parts of the city that we have seen basically no housing built. I'll give you the perfect example. Queens Community Board 2, where I live, saw 3,500 units of housing built last year. Queens Community Board 13 on the other side of the borough had 76. And so when you see that there are these vast disparities in terms of where housing is being built, you understand that we need to be able to build housing everywhere to increase the supply so we can finally start to bring down rental prices and home prices. Right now, the New York Times just published a piece a couple of weeks ago that the average 3-bedroom home citywide, and I'm not talking about just Manhattan or Brooklyn here, now costs $1.8 million. This is why we see that families with kids are leaving New York City at twice the rate of others who are choosing to leave New York City. Since the year 2000, we've lost 200,000 Black New Yorkers, backbone of our city, who are leaving for other places because they're simply being pushed out by what the housing prices are, right? And so we should get into talking about the proposals.
Absolutely, because our viewers need to understand that their vote matters in this matter that we're discussing right now. All right, so I'm all for it. I know there's 2 to 5 that we're going to be discussing, right?
That's right. That's right. So the basic notion behind these proposals is that we need to make it easier to build exactly the type of housing that working New Yorkers can afford and that we really need. So let's start with Proposal 2. Proposal 2 fast tracks 2 types of housing. The first type is housing that is 100% affordable, meaning that every single unit that would be created in that particular building is going to be somehow subsidized with taxpayer money and is going to be more affordable for people who are seeking to rent those units. And the second type of housing that it's going to fast track is developments that are 25% affordable or more in the 12 community districts across the city that have basically built no housing in the last 5 to 10 years. And so this takes the overall clock from 9 months to 90 days, which makes a huge difference, right? Every single day, every single week, every single month that you add to the overall timeline of trying to construct housing adds expense and money. And so shortening that clock, very importantly, makes everything less expensive. But more importantly, by being able to not only fast track the clock, but have a lot of the reviews conducted simultaneously,
Right.
what you are doing is removing from the process what can sometimes be a years-long negotiation with the city council to even build a modest amount of housing. And so sometimes you'll see, I'll give you the perfect example, there's 100% affordable development a few blocks away from where I live in Sunnyside, Woodside. It was first proposed in 2014. It is still not yet complete. These are 150 or so units, that every single one of which is going to be subsidized with taxpayer money. Those units are not going to come online until 2026. So when it takes 11 or 12 years for just 150 units of affordable housing to come online, you understand we have a big problem, because we currently need 1 million units of housing.
Wow. And so I know that's one of the props. I don't know if it's the right order, but let's go to prop 2, because I know that there's something about the mapping being switched into a digitized form so that it's a quickly accessible, right?
Yeah. So
I'm prop 3,
yes,
right? We already did 2.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
I know, I keep thinking we're starting from 1, but
so prop 3 essentially fast tracks a lot of the type of housing that we used to build in New York City, but we haven't built in decades. So this is 1 to 4 story buildings, housing only. We're not talking commercial, we're not talking industrial, in low density neighborhoods. And this will enable us to fast track the addition of up to 30% of a building's existing square footage in higher density neighborhoods. And this is all without actually changing the underlying zoning. So you don't have to go through a convoluted, complicated process at the city council to change zoning. If you live in a low-density neighborhood, this just simply means that what is currently a 2 or 3 family property on that same parcel, let's say if it were sold, you could build a 3-story building that maybe has 10 units, right? And so it just allows us to add a little bit of density in a lot of different places, which really helps, locally speaking, to ease the housing crunch. And in higher density places, this will apply in some parts of the Bronx. This is mostly Manhattan, Brooklyn, et cetera. You could add a couple of floors of housing to an existing building. So if you're a 10-story building, maybe you could add 2 floors of housing, again, without having to go through what is potentially a years-long process at the city council. That could be very expensive and very convoluted. And by fast-tracking these types of approvals, again, going from 9 months to 90 days, and also removing some of the city council review from these approvals, what you are essentially doing is saying that exactly the type of housing that we need locally all across the city can be built faster, less expensively, and therefore will be more affordable on the other end.
right. And really, time is of the essence, right?
Yes.
In every aspect.
Time is money.
Yes, it is.
Time is money.
It is. And so now we're up to prop 4.
Correct. So prop 4. This is an important proposal that will ensure that affordable housing actually gets built as part of a larger development or potentially a rezoning. What we have seen over time, over decades, and look, I want to give the current City Council Speaker, Adrienne Adams, a lot of credit. She's been a leader on housing. A number of council members in this particular council in the last couple of years have been leaders on housing. But for decades, unfortunately, the City Council is the place where housing has gone to die. And that is not because individual council members generally want to block housing. It is often because highly localized opposition that represent a minority of people in a particular neighborhood or council district can block affordable housing from being approved. And what we are saying is that if we actually can all agree, which I think we do, that our affordable housing crisis is a citywide problem, we need to be able to have a citywide lens on how we solve it. And so, Proposal 4 maintains a council member's ability as part of a rezoning to negotiate the best deal possible for their constituents, working with the developer to extract concessions and investments in things like infrastructure and parks and schools, but says that if, for example, a housing proposal is voted down at the council level, a new appeals board that consists of the mayor, the city council speaker, so the city council is still represented, and the relevant borough president can take a look at the affordable housing components of that proposal and potentially reinstate them. So that what we are saying is that the affordable housing that we need for New Yorkers so desperately actually is not paused or blocked by what can be a very political process.
Yeah, this is all fascinating, and it's a lot to take in. But I'm so grateful that you're able to break it down to the basics of understanding that there's different sectors that are making decisions, and so now it's kind of like restructuring it, so that
that's right,
so that it's not blocked.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Right. And that's me simplifying it for our viewers, because there's a lot of hands in the pie.
That's right. And what's important to remember about why we as voters are voting on this is we are voting to change the city's charter. And the city's charter basically functions like the city's constitution. You know, we have our U.S. Constitution, every state has their own constitution, and New York City has its own constitution. And that constitution basically sets the rules of the road. It says, here's what City Hall can do, here's what the City Council can do, here's what community boards can do. It doesn't dictate the outcome, but it sets the rules of the road. And what we are saying here is that after decades of these rules essentially being weaponized to block affordable housing, leaving New Yorkers with empty wallets,
right,
we need to change those rules to make sure that housing in particular is something we can get built so that we can keep New York City the most diverse, dynamic city on the planet. And look, both of us probably come from immigrant backgrounds. My parents certainly came to New York City as immigrants. We are the ultimate city of immigrants. Immigrants have made New York City great since the day we were founded. We know that we need to be able to continue to attract working people, strivers from every corner of the country, every corner of the world to come here to really make this city what it is. And we are going to lose our ability to do that unless we can house our people affordably. This cannot be a city just for millionaires and billionaires. You know that, I know that. And so we're trying to keep working people in New York City.
Right, exactly, and we have to evolve with the times and basically accommodate our circumstances. Exactly. And we're in a crisis right now. That's really, right. And I'm glad that you brought in immigrants, because you know what, we are the essential fabric that keeps the city running.
That's exactly right.
Right.
That's exactly right.
And so on that note, let's get to Prop 5, yes, because I hope our viewers are really grasping how important your vote matters.
Absolutely. We have the power in our own hands. I mean, if you just take a look at what happened in the Democratic primary in June, you know, there are many different inputs that went into why Zohran Mamdani won that primary. But if you take a look at the one policy issue, right, that was the key driving force behind his campaign and the thing that a huge number of New Yorkers responded to, right? An unprecedented, historic number of New Yorkers voted in that primary. It was affordable housing. And that is a mandate to the man who's likely to be the next mayor of New York to say, you need to fix this problem. And what is really special about these propositions is that we have the power in our own hands through our own vote to walk into the ballot box on November 4th and exercise our power to say, we can actually make the rules of the city better and make them work better for us to get that affordable housing built. So with that, Prop 5, look, I love maps. I love paper maps. If you come to my house, you'll see a lot of paper maps on the walls.
Right.
But when you are relying on 8,000 paper maps, right, to come up with the plans for how to build housing, let me tell you, it slows down the process. So Prop 5 simply takes us from 1955 to 2025, takes, right, those 8,000 paper maps and digitizes them into one official city map.
Right, which is, again, you know, evolving with the times, because that's just where we are. Everything needs to be faster.
That's right.
And that's what this whole conversation has been.
That's exactly right.
It's about, you know, basically our system also catching up to the times.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And look, I understand New Yorkers. Look, I worked in government for almost 20 years, federal, city, and state. There are a lot of really good things that government can do. We've helped write important laws to protect low-income workers from exploitation from, their employers. We've done all sorts of things. But I understand when New Yorkers feel like government takes too long or things are broken or it's ineffective. And this is a really unique opportunity for New Yorkers to exercise their own power to make government more effective. And so that's really what these proposals are about.
Well, I really appreciate you coming in the spirit and educating us and really galvanizing the masses to use your voice and educating us in the process, really.
So on November 4th, flip your ballot and vote yes on Props 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Bravo. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Amit, everybody. Woo! That was a nice earful of, what our democracy looks like. All right. Amit Singh Bagga, manager of the Affordable Housing Campaign. He's the director. Once again, for more information, you can go visit them online at yesonaffordablehousing.com. And of course, don't forget to vote on November 4th, yes to affordable housing Prop 2, 3, 4, and 5.
You got it.
All right. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
We are the Eco Leaders. We learned that everything starts with ourselves. Then we have to educate ourselves. Then we have to build community and use our imagination.
Banana? Okay, let me stop. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back, I should say, to open our Halloween special. Our next guest is no stranger to public safety. He has been keeping the students, faculty, and teachers here at Lehman College safe for years. And today, he's here to talk about how to have a safe and fun Halloween. Everyone, please welcome Deputy Director of Public Safety at Lehman College, Alan Orozco. Hello.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Rhina, thank you so much for inviting me. And in the spirit of Halloween, I actually brought a guest with me today.
Yay.
My Pikachu, actually.
Yay.
A lot of people don't realize, but it may not recognize me, but I was at some point as Ketchum. I am a 90s kid, and I decided to make sure if anybody needed to remind and know, here with me is Pikachu with me.
Yay, that
Rhina,
excites
thank you so much.
me. No, it excites me so much. I'm like playtime. No, because remember we had that little era of what was it? Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go in the Central Park. We just briefly talked about it, remember?
Yes, because I got to tell you, it kind of like snatched everybody like body snatchers. Right. And I mean that. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, people were out there looking for Pokemons in the middle of the night in Central Park.
You know, I couldn't understand it, but then I had to go into the inner child and I actually realized, I was like, I was that kid anyway. Pokemon cards and whatnot. And everybody's favorite Pokemon was actually Pikachu or Charizard. And so I was like, you know what? Let me get in touch with my 90s and bring the spirit of Halloween here with us.
Okay, so how long have you had that Pikachu?
Actually, it's my son. So when he sees this segment, he's going to be like, wait a minute, that's mine. What are you doing?
Did you ask permission to borrow it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
And I cannot confirm or deny this is actually his hat. So he's going to be like. So I can't wait for him to see this and his reaction when we put it on TV.
You're going to get busted.
Oh, forget it. You know, and talking about Halloween has actually been a very fun Halloween season, actually. I actually turned into Transformer, Optimus Prime this weekend. I went to Legoland and I was like, you know what? Optimus Prime, and he was Bumblebee. And my other son was Bluey.
Oh,
With my wife
nice.
is chili. So we're blending in the season.
Oh my gosh, yes. No, I mean, that's the fun part of being a parent, right? Like, it's all it's all justifiable. Although I'm a child at heart. All right?
Right.
This is my favorite, my absolute favorite holiday of all year round, because it's like giving yourself permission to just allow the inner child within to come out and play and
Right.
and it'd be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and every month my wife and I, we always look into the calendar. We're like, all right, so what's the season looking like right now? And then we go, all right, so mid-September we were planning already. Halloween. All right. How do we do these events? What are we looking for? Costumes. But you know, the most important thing is how to have a safe and enjoyable Halloween as well. That is the most important thing.
Yes, and we're so glad that you're here to like just really share some really important tips that, you know, obviously you're coming on behalf of or representing the college, but it really applies to anywhere in the neighborhood.
Absolutely, especially as a commuter school. You know, I always like to make sure that everybody feels safe coming and going to Lehman College, and at the same time, if they can take a takeaway of how to be more safe out there, trust me, we're doing our job. The most important thing about safety is actually promoting awareness.
How many tips are you going to be sharing with us today?
Well, there's a couple tips, right? And I would like to show, you know, that something that we always promote in the website and in social media is exercise safety tips, right? So, walk in groups. Right? When we're doing our trick-or-treating, right, we're always trying to make sure that we are walking in groups. Use your cell phone for identification. Oh, there it is. Making sure that we have our, we have our identifiers, right? Because a lot of people is having a lot of same themes, right? And this year, we're Pokemon, Minion, Transformer, you know, it's coming up. And actually, Blue, for those who don't know. So a lot of people might be having the same costume. So it's important to have an identifier.
Right.
What are we identifying with? Where did we start off? Coming with a plan. Where do we meet, just in case, right? Exercise caution with traffic, because as we're doing trick-or-treating in near the neighborhoods or we're downtown, wherever it is, you know, we got to make sure that we're sticking as a group, mindful of the traffic, because people are trying to travel.
You know, I just want to bring up the fact that there may be multiple people wearing the same costume and how important it is what you're saying. I really want people to take that in, because, you know, you could be in a group and then somebody could come and present themselves and be dressed as the same person.
Right.
And then you assume, but so how is that identifiable?
Sometimes, you know, what I always recommend is something like a reflective band. Sometimes we always put like a little... not a bandana, but something that's like a color, so we're like, wait a minute, like, for example, my son is Michael and Damien, right? So as long as we know, wait a minute, those are the same things that we had with Michael and Damien. So we always practice it, and of course, stay together.
Right.
You know, that's the most important thing.
Right.
Because, trust me, as a parent, my wife and I, we're always chasing one of our kids.
Right.
So we have to be sure that we're being mindful where we are.
Right.
And at the same time, it's so exciting when we see it, especially my two boys were here. They'll probably go attack you and hug you right now, because they're so excited about the minis. They love it.
They'll be like, Kevin?
Oh, forget it, especially when you say banana or Stewart. So these are things that we have to continue practicing.
This is great. I hope everybody got that, because that's a great idea.
Right.
Is to like wear some kind of color band or something that identifies you or separates you from somebody else who may be dressed in the same costume.
Be creative.
Yeah.
So these are things that I always like to exercise and promote awareness. In fact, earlier this week, we sent out an email blast to all the community of the Lehmans to have a awareness, the same thing that we just posted, where everybody has it. And so we want to ensure that everybody has a safe and enjoyable Halloween.
And so what other tips do you have?
We also have, you know, use flashlights, you know, because, you know, what's the best time for Halloween and trick-or-treating? The nighttime.
Yeah, of course.
So imagine that's the rhythm, especially since today's Friday and we're going to be out there.
Yeah.
Forget it, you know. So we want to make sure that if you need a flashlight, carry around a flashlight, even your phone. But I always tell everybody, carry your own flashlight, not the phone, because guess what? What happens if it dies?
Right.
Especially when we're taking our photos, we're taking all that energy from the phone. Carry around a flashlight if you need to make sure that it's light up. Don't open up your candy. right then and there. Wait till you get home to open up the candy, and stay away from the homemade treats. You never know what's in it.
Okay, so wait before we move on from that, because
Sure.
because I want them to grasp why you're saying don't open up the candy.
Because you never know what's inside the candy. Here, I know you treated me to a Kit Kat, so trust me, I know it's like if I was to look at it in a 2-second mark, it's sealed.
Right.
Right? You never know what's in it.
Right.
So why don't we do it in a lit area just like we are right now?
Correct.
Wait till you get home.
Right.
There'll be so much time to enjoy
Right.
those treats.
Right.
Do it at home.
Right, and again, the idea is that when you're there at night and you're having a good time, you may not realize that it may be ripped open a little bit, and you're just operating,
You never know.
Spontaneously versus mindfully.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those fairy tales, the candied apple. Remember those poisonous apples?
I
It was
just
same thing.
now we're gonna scare everybody.
Okay.
Moving on. and
Moving
so
on. But you know what it is.
Yeah.
These candy, especially Kit Kat. I'm a crazy fiend for
Well,
Kit Kat.
that's yours. It's yours. You already claimed it.
I did.
Yeah, you can have it.
But
And so-
there's always a good time to do it at home.
Right. No, and of course, because you should inspect everything that you're going to ingest.
Especially with our children.
Exactly. So what was the next one you were going to say? Something about no baked goods, no home baked goods, nobody. Yeah. Even though it's a nice gesture.
It's a nice gesture.
Thank you very much.
Sometimes this is a healthy thing.
Right.
But in reality,
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we know exactly what we're ingesting, especially if it's packaged, that means it comes from somewhere
Right.
that was authorized.
Right.
Those are important things.
Yeah, they are.
Especially nowadays, you never know what's in them.
Right.
You know?
I mean, a lot of people infuse their food now since it's legal. I'm saying, it's just something.
But it's absolutely true.
And so, what else you got for us?
Well, the good thing about it is just making sure you're checking your surroundings as well, too. If it's something that you have your gut feeling and you're like, wait a minute, it's something, then continue going on.
Right.
Go to a more lit area, because honestly speaking, the more dark it is, the more it lowers our heightened and awareness. So it might as well just do these things in a fashion in a safe manner.
Yeah, and group settings.
Absolutely.
Always preferable.
Absolutely.
Always.
And trust me, when we're going to be downtown tonight in the parade, you got your local law enforcement out there. So that's a good sign, especially if you need help. Contact an officer. They're going to get you to safety or get you in touch with whoever you're looking for. Who knows? Somebody else might be looking for you. So these are things that we have to take into account.
And so before we go, I know that I remember seeing something along the lines with regards to having your emergency contact.
Absolutely. Having your contacts in your favorite list. I always have, obviously, your loved ones, but also get in the habit of calling 911. If you're on Lehman College, I always tell everybody, put that emergency number. For example, our emergency number for Lehman College is 718-960-7777. We have a 24/7 dispatcher. Just imagine that. So if you program the 911 numbers, especially the precinct numbers as well, it'll be the automatic thought right there.
That's smart.
Right.
I don't think any of us think about that, right? We automatically assume we just do 911, but why not have the precinct number just stored in your phone?
Right. Sometimes, and that's the best way to train ourselves, to get into automatic pilot. Something happens, come up with a plan, and then execute it. That's why I always tell everybody. So
Yeah.
that's why when we have the discussions as a family, this is what we're going to do. So that way, God forbid, we ever in that situation and Pikachu's not around,
And Pikachu's not around.
then you know what? Let's get into that plan and execute it.
Oh gosh, is there anything we haven't discussed that because you're doing a great job of
trying.
just opening up awareness of these little things, but you know what? I unless you're trained to think in that manner, it's an oversight.
It's something that everybody
Yeah.
can start doing, and in fact, I always emphasize it in our safety awareness campaigns. Especially, we host a couple events at Lehman College, but in reality, these are things that you can discuss. Come up with a plan. Even if you have to write it down in your phone or have a piece of paper, but in reality, when you start making a plan, you actually are more in touch to execute it. So these are discussions you can have at home, or kind of like a fire drills at home, right? Something happens at home, what do we do? Take the
Right.
staircase. So these are things that we could take in order to, and for everyday things.
Right. Especially if you have teenagers
Oh,
that
yeah.
are out there operating independently.
Right.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is really great. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
bringing it
Rhina.
here in the manner in which you brought it. Everyone, Alan Orozco, once again,
You got
Deputy
it.
Director of Public Safety at Lehman College. We are so grateful to you and Pikachu.
Thank you.
We're not gonna, shout you out. Yes, we did. Oh, look, Pikachu gets a close up. All right.
Oh, wait.
You are definitely being shouted out. Anyway, you guys, if you're interested in, once again, following the tips that we just shared, once again, be alert and check candy, safeguard your property, use the buddy system, and also have emergency contacts on a speed dial, and of course, be visible, stay in group settings. And if you're interested in more tips or information on how to remain safe during the Halloween weekend, you can visit lehman.edu/public-safety. All right, stay tuned. There's more Open Halloween when we return.
We are the Eco Leaders. We learned that everything starts with ourselves, then we have to educate ourselves, then we have to build community and use our imagination.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Open. So the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival is celebrating their Quinceañera. Let's take a look. How exciting! That was a taste of this year's International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival's Quinceañera, which since 2010 has been shining a spotlight on Puerto Rico's proud heritage, rich culture, and global diaspora. They're going to be showcasing 100 independent films, shorts, web series, and music videos. And so our next guest is here to share more about this year's theme and the film festival schedule. Everyone, please welcome Director of the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival, Xavier A. Santiago.
Thank you. And today, Agent X. So.
Agent X, I like that. I like that. That's what I'm going to be calling you. Agent X. Thank you for always just going with the flow, Xavier. I think we had you on last year during the Halloween episode as well.
Yep. I think it was a priest there.
Yeah, you were a priest. And of course, we were highlighting all the wonderful work that the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival continues to expand on every year. 100, ouch.
Yeah, that was our committee went through a gargantuan task of reviewing all the films, and I actually had to step in the latter stages and just really look at all of them. The filmmakers just upped the ante. Fantastic exhibition we're going to have this year for our Quinceañera. I'm stoked. I'm really excited.
I love the theme. I love the concept, and then there's also the acknowledgement of our Latinidad, right? Because we celebrate quinceañeras, so it's nice that the film festival is going to have its own recognition in that realm. And so, all right, so we do know that most of the opening ceremonies happen in East Harlem, in El Barrio, but there's also film being, I guess, screened downtown at the Regal. So why don't you walk us through what that looks like for our guests?
Absolutely. So we open November 12th. Very excited at El Museo del Barrio, coming back home. We're going to be honoring Summer Rose Castillo for our Rising Star Award, Joe Torres from Channel 7 ABC News for the excellence in media. We're going to have it hosted by Mark Vieira, this great comedian. I mean, he's a hoot. I think he's opened for Mark Anthony and all these other stars. So, and we'll also exhibit a series of shorts that'll be fun to watch. Next day, Thursday, we'll be at the Museum of the City of New York for our Doc Fest, where we're running a whole slate of docs that are from all over the world. And after that concludes, we're going to go to Centro at Silberman for our Cafecito con Actores, where we're going to have Wilson Cruz, who was in Star Trek Discovery, Sonia Manzano from Alma's Way and Sesame Street, and Christian Mercado, who's not only an alum, but a up and rising filmmaker. So after that, days 3 through 5, we're going to be at Battery Park City Regal. And that's where we'll be running multiple screens all those days, and also engaging filmmakers and networking as well. So.
Wow. All right. So you just like ran through everything. So I'm going to rewind and revisit just so that our viewers get the gist of what you just gave us as an overview, even though we're pretty much going to break it down just a little bit more extensively, right? So opening night happens at a Museo del Barrio, and that's happening on Wednesday,
November 12th.
November 12th. And that's usually where you do the big opening. Normally, you actually highlight a feature film, but this year you're going to be doing shorts, right? Shorts feature. So how many shorts are being featured?
We're going to feature about 4 shorts within the categories of live action, which are your narrative. You're going to have animation, and we're going to have a documentary, and a surprise one.
And a surprise one.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. And then in addition to the screening of the short films, you're also highlighting more people this year, because every year it seems like you highlight a legend, but now you've expanded it into highlighting a rising star, now highlighting somebody who's been doing excellent work in media, right? And as you mentioned, it's Summer Rose Castillo and Joe Torres from ABC's Tiempo, right? And then you said it's also going to be hosted by Mark Vieira, the comedian who actually has done a lot of work here in the Bronx as well.
Yeah, he's from the Bronx, actually, and he's fantastic. Actually, was on 30 Rock not long ago, getting his national debut, and he just does the circuits all across the country and across the world.
Yeah, no, he's hilarious. And then, of course, we're super proud of Summer Rose Castillo, who happens to be the daughter of my dear friend, April Hernandez Castillo. For those who don't know, Summer Rose Castillo is the voice of Alma's Way, and she's just been doing this since, I don't know, for the past 3 or 4 years, and it's been remarkable, the growth that we've been able to witness, so that's lovely that you're going to be honoring her. And then, of course, Joe Torres, you know, Tiempo, we all watch Tiempo. And then, of course, he's one of the hosts of the National Puerto Rican Day Parade every single year. So that sounds like it's going to be a big to-do right there. That's why I wanted to make sure that we elaborate a little further, because I know that's the evening you have the red carpet and everybody comes dressed to the nines. But this year you're doing something different with the film screenings as well, which I think I like. You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with sitting and watching a whole long film, but I think because of the excitement and the enthusiasm of honoring individuals, I think the short is the way to go.
Yeah, we talked about it, and again, where do you get storytelling? Storytelling starts with the short. And a lot of directors like Christian Mercado, who will be at one of our panelists, start music videos, and which is a short story. If you remember us, the MTV generation. Right. And then you go to a longer form from there. But I think it also highlights the importance of being able to tell a story, which is like landing a 747 on an aircraft carrier. It just has to hit right, and that's what we wanted to highlight this year.
And it's also almost the day and age we're living in, right? Yeah. It's short form content, right? We have this, I hate giving it identities, but it's like an ADD symptom of like, move, right? Yeah. But there's also a skill in being able to tell a story in short form.
Yeah, it really is. You look at it the way, say, the Academy and others review storytelling when you go to film festivals all over. They really have to, like what we do is we create these blocks that actually, it's kind of like listening to a soundtrack and you're taking through a series of emotions. But you, again, as a storyteller, you have to be able to quickly tell that story so you get people invested.
Right.
And then they have the cathartic payoff at the end.
Right.
And they could say, I could watch that again. And that's the point of what we do as a film festival, is really bringing the heart and soul for Boricua everywhere and Latinos.
Yeah, which brings us to the qualifications,
Yeah.
right? Because it is the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival, and I know we repeat this every year, but for someone who may not be familiar with it, let's just share with them how what the qualifications are, even though it's the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival.
So first, we are international, so we accept films from all over the world. We've had films from Israel, from Japan, from Egypt, Turkey. To qualify for competition, you have to either have one of the above the lines or the head of the department as a key staff member. And you could have just a standard, horror film, for example. Or you could be someone who's not, they have to be of Puerto Rican descent, but you could be a filmmaker who's not Puerto Rican at all, and you're telling a story about the island, the people, the culture. We had one of our documentary winners was dealing with baseball and the history of baseball and our contributions, who was from the Upper East Side. And one of his best friends is Puerto Rican. He went down to the island, and he just was inspired to tell this documentary. And I think that's what makes us unique, in the fact that it's not just about our people, it's how you're also uplifting us as well, which makes it a very open and competitive film festival.
So when you say above the line, you mean like...
Yeah, so your writer, your director, your producer, your lead actor or actress, or even supporting actor and actress, and then heads of department, like it could be your director of photography, your head of the sound department, or key makeup or hair. That would allow the film to qualify.
For the film festival, meaning they have
be in
to be of
competition,
Puerto Rican descent or
Yes.
Puerto Rican, and or the storyline itself has to highlight some aspect of
Correct.
Puerto Rico.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And I want to share that because I think it's a wonderful homage that we're paying to the culture, right? In just also making sure that our people are being employed.
Yeah.
And that our stories matter at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes, it does matter. You remember when Hurricane Maria happened, we had a gluttony of documentary filmmakers from all over really wanting to tell unique stories and how it was impacting, from the exodus of our elders who couldn't get care to what happened with a lot of our professional class, like the doctors leaving the island. We saw a complete uptick in that, but it also highlighted the needs of the island and needing to reinvest. So I think that's what's important about our film festival.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure that anybody who's watching, who's an aspiring filmmaker, understands. Like here, we have these festivals that are accessible to you, not only to screen yourself, but also participate. But we highly recommend you screen first so that you see what it is that it takes, as well as experiencing the caliber of talent that is presented and also highlighted every year. I love this festival. That's why we have them on every year. And so for that, I would like to get into the Museum of the City of New York, because now you're highlighting the documentaries at the Museum of the City of New York, is what you said, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, so with the Museum of the City of New York, who's been one of our longtime partners, we discussed about the type of films we want to exhibit, and education is a huge component of their mission statement in the Museum of the City of New York. And we said, okay, we're going to put together a lot of the documentaries from the neighborhood, and we have some feature documentary length. We have short documentaries from both the island. We even have one called Beats and Codes, which was produced over in Germany. And this will allow us to really just educate and uplift, and it'll be accessible to our kids, our youth, and a lot of the seniors that live in the community as well.
And so I also want to share with our viewers that some of those screenings are during the day.
Correct.
So it's accessible to the seniors, as you were mentioning.
Correct.
Right? Which that's the only time that I know that you actually have those early screenings, like 11 in the morning.
Yeah, we're going to be 10 a.m.
Okay.
Until 6 p.m. at the Museum of the City of New York. And then we have our cafecito over at Silberman at 6 p.m.
at 6 p.m.
Yes.
Right, the same day.
Same day,
Right,
not
and so
Thursday.
when he says Silverman, that's the Hunter College Annex. That's on 119th
and 3rd
Avenue.
Correct.
And you're going to be highlighting Sonia Manzano, who we
Yeah.
love. Sonia Manzano. Everybody knows her as Maria from Sesame Street, but she's also the creator and executive director of Alma's Way, which is currently on PBS Kids. The one that Summer Rose actually does the voiceover to.
Yeah.
So in addition to Sonia Manzano, you have Wilson Cruz.
Yep, who's in Star Trek Discovery, long career in acting, but also too an LGBT plus advocate, and we're very pleased to have him come on and appear on the panel. And Christian Mercado, who is on the filmmaker side, is a producer, director, creative, to really talk about how it started as a block for Hispanics in Hollywood, and how we have been typecast, how we've been put into certain roles like the villain, the bad guy, the drug dealer, and really demystifying their experience and how we can change it going forward. So.
And so, lastly, after this event, which is happening on Thursday, that's like the Thursday block, then the festival itself continues downtown at Regal Cinema.
Yes, we're going to be down the 14th, 15th, and 16th at Regal Battery Park City. Usually we go to Loisaida, but it was not available this year, but they wanted to keep us within the Regal family, and we're very happy about that. So they put us in Battery Park City. So it's a quick jaunt right all the way downtown.
Okay, so talk to us about that programming so that everybody understands, right? Because we gave you like specific events for Wednesday and Thursday. However, this is one of those that you can get a pass and then come and go as you please, right?
Correct. We recommend getting the festival pass. It's the most economical all the way around, and you get to pick and choose the blocks you get to see. You can go in and out. For example, on Friday, we're going to be screening from, I believe it's about noon until about 10 p.m. And then Saturday we start early with 2 screens where we'll have blocks running concurrently that will end at about 10 p.m. as well. But that day will start around 12 as well. But that's how many films we're exhibiting, and we'll have the bulk of our features and our shorts, including some documentary shorts as well, smattered throughout, music videos, some animation. And then Sunday, when we have our awards ceremony, will be the day we conclude. We'll start around, I believe, 12 p.m. and then conclude by 6 p.m. So, yeah.
So during the weekend is the potpourri, right? Where it's like they're all kind of like blended together. It's not like specific styles.
Yeah, so the way we do it, the blocks are programmed very intelligently and to evoke certain emotional journeys, if you will. And that's what we love about it. It's like it's a soundtrack. And just like when you listen, your favorite band, and you walk out and you're like, wow, I was really moved by that. That's what a lot of our audience appreciate, is that it's curated so specifically that they get to take a journey.
Almost like a composer.
Yes, exactly, and that's what we love doing in our team. So we take a lot of joy in that. And when people walk out and they go to get a drink at one of our sponsors, or they're in the theater, if it has like last year we had a bar at Regal Essex Crossing, they would just come out and just sit like, wow, that was heavy, or I really enjoyed that. Getting that feedback's rewarding for us as a team.
So, what would you share with our viewers that is different this year than every other year?
I think our opening night is one of the bigger things that's going to be different this year. Is just that we're as a quinceañera, it's as you know, in our culture, it's a coming of age into adulthood, and not that we weren't already, but it really highlights the growth and expansion and the survival post-pandemic. So many film festivals on the island shuttered or had to go through rebrands. A few of them still exist, and that are elevating our people, our culture, the island, and we're very proud to stand among them and to be a leader in the field together. And I think that's what's important for us. So we're having the hosting by Mark Vieira's super cool. I'm really, like I said,
we can tell you're a Mark Vieira fan.
Yeah, no, the Latin Prince, but he's just this super nice guy, and to be able to bring everyone in together for a laugh. It's not got to be serious all the time, and I think that's one of the. And then just going back to our core, which is the shorts. I think everyone's going to just have to go to IPRHFF.org, look at our films, buy your tickets before they sell out. Because last year we were standing room only on Saturday and Friday. So
bravo, wonderful way to celebrate Puerto Rican Heritage Month.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, coming up.
Well, we thank you, Agent X, for bringing you here to us on Open.
Thank you. Always
Thank
a pleasure.
You. Likewise. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm excited. I don't know. Are you guys excited? Because I'm excited. Look, Agent X put his glasses on, so guess what? I'm gonna put my goggles on, just because you're leaving out cool like that. And I'm gonna go banana. Okay, no. All right. Once again, Xavier A. Santiago, director of the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival. Once again, they are celebrating their Quinceañera. And if you're interested in learning more about their schedule, you can visit IPRHFF.org or you can follow them on Instagram and Facebook at IPRHFF. All right, stay tuned. There's more Open when we return. Bye.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with BronxNet community media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At BronxNet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated BronxNet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with BronxNet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. And as you know, this year Halloween falls on a Friday, or as we like to say on Open, Fry-yay. But guess what? That doesn't mean that the trick-or-treating has to end. So today we're going to find out more about what's going on in our area in our special Halloween Open Weekend Preview. As all my minions know, if you want to celebrate Halloween like a true New Yorker, the Village Halloween Parade is the place to be. The parade runs up 6th Avenue from King Street to 15th Street in Manhattan. It starts at 7 p.m. and goes to 11 p.m. This year's theme is potluck, as the organizers say, come on in, the table is set. In these divided times, the organizers' message is inclusive, saying that there is enough for everyone. And this year's Grand Marshal is City Harvest. As the parade celebrates community and abundance, City Harvest leads the way in feeding our city. And remember, it's free to march in the parade, but you must wear a costume. So if you wish to march, you got to make sure that you're dressed and you're asked to line up at 6th Avenue and Canal Street. Spectators are also encouraged to arrive early. And for more information, you can visit Halloween-NYC.com. Next, we have, back by popular demand, the New York Botanical Garden is bringing back Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas Light Trail. This unforgettable all-ages evening experience invites you on an extraordinary journey through 8,300 square feet of breathtaking immersive light installations and magnificent sculptures. So you guys be prepared to be enchanted as iconic characters from the beloved film are brought to life through dazzling light, intricate design, and dynamic artistic expression. The Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas Light Trail goes from Thursday, September 25th through Sunday, November 30th. And for more information, you can visit nybg.org. That's our show today, mi gente. Thanks to our guests for coming through and you for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out this episode throughout the weekend, 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin. And from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Happy Halloween, mi gente. Take care and be safe and Ba-dee-da, ba-da-bo-bo, ah-dee-da, ah-bo-do, ah-dee-da, bo-da-ba-da, ah-dee-do, ah-da-da. Ora ba-da-da-bee-bo-do-ba-da-dee-do, ah-da-da-dee-da.
What are you doing?
Hey, a banana.
Get back to work.
Ba-dee-da, bo-ba-bee-bo, ah-dee-do,